They look like tumors, big, misshapen lumps bulging out of tree trunks like nature forgot to finish the job. Sometimes they're the size of a basketball. Other times, they're massive, nearly the size of a bear. And yet inside these ugly growths, something extraordinary is happening. They're called burls. A burl is a type of wood formation that grows when a tree undergoes stress. The stress can come from an injury, a fungal infection, a virus, or even a persistent insect attack. Instead of killing the tree, that disturbance hijacks the tree's growth cycle, triggering a swarm of dormant bud cells to start dividing in chaotic ways. Instead of straight, predictable grain, the tree produces twisted, swirling fibers that don't follow the usual rules. To a logger, a burl might look like wasted wood, but to a craftsman, it's gold. Burls most commonly grow on hardwoods, redwoods, oaks, maples, walnuts. Some are small, just a few inches wide. Others exceed 200 pounds. That's just over 90 kilograms. And they have knobby, tumor-like swellings that can encircle the entire trunk. They usually form underground or near the base, where the root systems are most vulnerable. But they've been found high up in the canopy, too, dangling like oversized knots. And when they're cut open, the story changes. Inside, burl wood reveals a stunning grain. Chaotic, yes, but also mesmerizing. It's gorgeous. No two pieces are alike. Some look like marbled stone. Others resemble fire, smoke, or liquid. This wild beauty makes burl wood one of the most prized materials in fine woodworking. It shows up in everything from handcrafted bowls to electric guitar bodies. Rolls-Royce and Bentley even used burl veneers for their luxury dashboards. The peel? It is not new. Native Californian tribes like the Yurok and Hoopa harvested burl from fallen redwoods to create ceremonial bowls, spoons, and drums, objects still held in museum collections today. One such piece, a Hoopa burl ladle dated to the early 1800s, is displayed at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. It shows burn marks along the handle, likely from contact with fire-heated stones used in meal preparation. But that same value has created a problem. In places like California's Redwood National and State Parks, burl poaching has become a serious threat. Poachers often sneak into protected forests at night, cut the burls off live redwood trees, and then they vanish like ninjas into the shadows before sunrise. I guess that's kind of like vampires, but you know where I'm going. The mutilation, it leaves scars, not just on the trees. A redwood can take centuries to reach full maturity, and removing a burl doesn't just damage the surface, it could actually destabilize the entire ecosystem of a tree that's been alive since before the American Revolution. That's why in 2014, the National Park Service and California State Parks jointly launched a crackdown on burl poaching along the North Coast. The policy included surveillance cameras, increased ranger patrols, and an aggressive public campaign under the message, "Leave no trace, take no burl." Within 1 year, documented burl thefts dropped nearly 40%, and they didn't even have to call in the sniper teams. And yet these formations aren't a flaw. They're a response. That's the twist. A burl isn't a tumor. It isn't rot. It's a record of survival. Trees can't run or fight, but they can adapt. And when disease or trauma strikes, the tree doesn't give up. It reroutes its energy, builds around the wound, and locks the stress inside, a form of organic sculpture. That's why burls exist, not as decoration, but as evidence. They show how life, when damaged, it doesn't always collapse. Sometimes it contorts. Sometimes it endures. And in the case of burl, that endurance leaves behind something oddly beautiful. You can walk through a forest and pass 100 trees before you notice one. But the tree with the burl, it makes you stop. Maybe not because it's pretty, but maybe because it's trying to tell you something. These are interesting things with JC.